coercively supported by the state, or the states.
I disagree with this. Germany had a central bank from, was not in the beginning, it was not legally a central bank, but in fact it was from 1948 to the advent of the euro. Switzerland has a central bank and they work well. So you cannot blame the central bank. It's just the way in which, and the particular problem which arose here was just the problem in which, the way in which the euro was introduced and the way it was managed in the meantime. I think, and the things became worse and worse because of this additional intervention, this bailing out, the breaking of all of the promises which have been made in the first and second stage, and in the EU treaty. You have still explicitly in the EU treaty no bailout will take place. It's, I think, Article 125. Every of these promises was broken, and I think this was the reason. But if you have a really independent, conservative central bank, then things can turn out very well. Another example is New Zealand, for example. So Canada, yes.
And probably you don't even have to have a conservative central bank. You have to have a certain central bank that takes action. It just so happens that in Germany and Austria, due to what happened in the 1920s, inflation is the biggest fear. Now, the Italians for a very long time didn't worry about inflation. The British saved themselves by being able to devalue, and then they came back. That is not necessarily, as such, a bad thing unless it gets out of control. It hurts certain people. Inflation is a very bad thing, but Italy lived with it for 40 years. You had your Fiat, which was in competition to your VW Golf, and when your Fiat got too expensive, they just devalued the currency. It was predictable. It happened in a certain set rate, but it caused lots of headaches.
I think one of the key issues is the Gresham's law operating in the market of central banking. You have big central banks like the American Fed and the European Central Bank using monetary policy of dubious long-term effect, and basically it's creating pressures for other central banks to follow suit. Otherwise they have two unpalatable choices: actually enable carry trade, which is sheer speculation, or even worse, capital controls. And I think we also have this issue of central bank competition. The American Fed is being able to pursue this policy just because there's no other, at the moment, no credible alternative to the dollar. And the European Central Bank, for a long time, has tried to break this monopoly. However, it's the key issue here plays the scale. If we have two or three central banks with such standing, basically most of the other central banks are following suit.
Thank you. Please join me in thanking the panel for this amazing discussion. This opportunity, I would like to thank all the speakers and also Barbara Kohn, who is not with us today. She had other arrangements. And thank you for your time, and hopefully the discussions were fruitful and inspiring, and I hope I will see you again at an event like this or somewhere else. Thank you, and have a good evening.
Thank you. And I think we should definitely thank the organization from our part on the sponsors, and I'm sure everybody. Thank you.